I'm Dr. K, and this is Psych U for you. Today we're going to talk about fear. So fear is another way that we come about making decisions. We oftentimes will avoid, obviously, the things that we fear. That fear changes the way that we interact with the world around us. There are many that suggest that fear really comes from this conditioning that's really been handed down to us through the generations. So if you look at things like phobias, we start to see that there's some common factors in phobias, that things like animals tend to be fairly high on the number of people who have phobias around animals, spiders, snakes, heights, things like that, that truly, in some circumstances, could be very, very dangerous. Throughout history, we know that those things were probably even more dangerous than they are today. And so we naturally see that individuals have a fear of spiders. If you're in Washington State, like I am, the fear of spiders is probably not too realistic. There's not many spiders in all of Washington that are actually going to do any harm to you. Yet there's still phobias around spiders for individuals in Washington. Same with snakes. Outside of a rattlesnake, if you're hiking around in the cliffs in the summertime, out in eastern Washington, then yes, you might run into a rattlesnake, but chances are even then, nothing's going to happen to you. But yet there's this high fear of snakes. And so we fear the things that kind of our ancestors have prepared us to fear. We also fear the things that are most readily available. So we talked about the availability heuristics. So those things are really available in our memory, especially those vivid images of things that might seem scary to us. Those types of things are also things that we fear. Also things that we can't control. So you can imagine that being out of control really does escalate our fear. So you might be one of those drivers who's good, kind of zipping in and out of traffic. And while you're driving along, you probably feel pretty safe. Yeah, and you're not fearful of a whole lot. As soon as you're in that passenger seat, however, and all of a sudden your good friend is driving through and kind of zipping through traffic, all of a sudden you might be holding on to that railing there saying, oh my gosh, we're going to die, kind of a thing, right? So you could see that sense of being out of control in that moment has all of a sudden changed you or your observation of the moment and really caused some fear. So those kinds of things. The other thing is kind of what's immediate, what's right here in our environment. So if there's something that's far away, a lot of times we don't fear it. This is one of the issues that I think we are having around the idea of climate change, that this is not an immediate thing. It's not impacting us right now in the moment to the degree where it's making a lot of folks say, whoa, this is really important. We need to do some things and be really, really proactive. It's really not until this becomes immediate and we start to see true impacts happening to me specifically, that immediate oftentimes is going to be what eventually creates some fear. From that fear, a lot of times we act in certain ways. We have an emotional response and then we react. So we'll talk in the future in another video about kind of the physiology behind fear, so we can kind of see what's behind fear, and then we'll be able to connect it a little bit more clearly with anxiety at a later time as well. Thanks for watching my video. Stay tuned for the next one.